Hello students, I am Dr. Raju Vaisare. This is my first interactions with you all. Today we will discuss the topics oral cancers. The term oral cancers describe as a range of malignancies that may arise in and around the oral cavity, though over the 90% of such lesions are the squamous cell carcinomas. The oral cancers, then in common language, the paper says is a mouth cancer. Is the cancer of the lining of the lips, mouth, upper throat. In the mouth, it is most commonly starts as a painless white patch that in the future it thickened and developed the red patches and ulcer with continuous growth. Some anatomical sites in the oral cavities, there the oral malignancies are very common. These sites are the, as you can see in this picture, the hard palate, soft palate, buccal mucosa is also known as inner cheek lining, and lower part of the tongue and the submandibular duct opening. There are the various types of the oral neoplasm. These oral tumors can develop anywhere in the oral cavity and oropharynx. Some tumors are benign. These are non-cancerous and some may be precancerous. Precancerous, these conditions may become the cancerous, is known as precancerous, while others may be cancerous. Different types of the oral cancers may develop in the different areas of the mouth and throat. First of all, the benign tumor. What is the benign tumor? A benign tumor is the mass of the cells that lacks the ability to either invade neighboring tissues or metastasize. When it removed, benign tumor usually do not grow back, whereas malignant tumors sometimes do. The benign tumors are generally have a slower growth rate than the malignant tumors. Some common types of the benign oral cavity tumors, they are the eosinophilic granulomas, fibromas, granulosa cell tumor, osteochondroma, lipoma, schwannoma, neurofibroma, papilloma, and others. Now, what is the pre-malignant conditions or precancerous conditions? These precancerous lesions of the oral mucosa, known as potentially malignant disorders in recent years, or consists of the group of diseases which should be diagnosed in early stage, like the oral leukoplakia, oral submucous fibrosis, and oral erythroleukoplakia are the most common oral mucosal diseases that have a very high malignant transformation rate. The oral lichen planus is also one of the potentially malignant disorders that may be seen in 6 different subtypes, including papillary, reticular, plaque-like, atrophic, erosive, and bullous type. The leukoplakia, this is the pre-malignant condition. The type of pre-malignant conditions is number 1 is the leukoplakia. This leukoplakia is a condition in which one or more white patches, as you can see in this picture, the base of the tongue is showing the white diffuse patches inside the mouth, and about 3 to 17% of the people with leukoplakia will develop squamous cell carcinoma. Another precancerous condition is known as erythroplakia. Erythroplakia is the red patch that cannot be characterized either clinically or pathologically as any other defined lesions. As you can see in this picture, you can see the well defined margins of the red patch growth and the oral cavity. And the most common site of the involvements are erythroplakias are soft palate, the floor of mouth, and the ventral surface of the tongue and retromolar areas. Other conditions is lichen planus. What is lichen planus? Oral lichen planus is an ongoing chronic inflammatory condition that affects the mucous membrane inside the mouth. As you can see in the pictures, the dorsal aspects of the tongue is white, blackish, and latchy patches that swollen the tissues and open the sores. These lesions may cause the burning pain or other discomfort in the mouth. These disorders occurs when the immune system mounts and attacks against the cells of the oral mucous membrane for the unknown reasons. After the benign conditions and pre-malignant conditions, the other conditions are known as malignant conditions of the oral cavity. These malignant neoplasms or squamous cell carcinoma is the more common malignancy in the oral cavity. The 90% or more of the oral cancers are squamous cell carcinomas. Others are verrucous carcinoma, minor salivary gland tumors, they are in 5% cases, and melanoma, lymphoma, and sarcomas are 2 to 5% of the cases. Malignant tumors, squamous cell carcinoma, also known as epidermoid carcinoma. This squamous cell carcinoma is a malignant epithelial neoplasm. It exhibiting squamous differentiation as characterized by the formations of keratin or the presence of the intercellular bridges. This is the most common malignant neoplasm of the oral cavity. It is the more than 90% of the cases of the oral cavity malignancy is squamous cell carcinoma. What are the risk factors? How it develops? The various risk factors, the common risk factors are tobacco. Tobacco, in chewing a tobacco, smoking, alcohol consumptions, diet and nutrition also the important role risk factors. These diets include the deficiency of vitamin A, C, E, iron, selenium, and folate. It is also the possibility to develop the malignancy. Some viruses like human papilloma virus, Epstein-Barr virus, and SSV also the causes of malignancy, but its role is unclear. The most important thing is oral hygiene. Poor oral hygiene, ill-fitting dentures is also responsible for this malignancy. The pre-malignant conditions you already heard, the leukoplakia, erythroplakia, and other factors are sepsis, spices, and sharp tooth. Clinical features. What are the clinical features of this oral malignancy? Mostly the older men are affected. Minimal pain during this old phase. Oral squamous cell carcinoma has varied clinical presentations like exophytic, endophytic, leukoplakia, erythroplakia, and erythroleukoplakia. Exophytic growth, as you can see in the upper part of the photograph, this is the mass formating, fungating papillary form of the growth near the gums. This is known as exophytic growth. And down left picture you can see the invasive burrowing deep ulcerated growth is known as endophytic growth. The leukoplakia and erythroplakia you already learned. The leukoplakia is development of white patches, erythroplakia is the development of red patches. What are the sites of intraoral carcinomas? The most common sites for the intraoral carcinomas are tongue, usually the base of the tongue. Number 2, the floor of the mouth, gingiva, alveolar bone, buccal mucosa, labial mucosa, and hard palate. These are some macroscopic pictures of the oral cancers. You can see in these pictures, the first picture showing the deep growth and the other are the ulcerated growth of oral malignancy. The carcinoma of the tongue, this is the 25 to 50% of the intraoral cancers are the carcinoma of tongue. Essentially a disease of the elderly, but it occurs in the relatively young persons also. And etiology of this malignancy is leukoplakia, syphilis, poor oral hygiene, chronic trauma, and alcohol and tobacco consumption. Carcinoma of the floor of the mouth. What are the clinical features? These clinical features includes the indurated ulcers of varying size, may or may not be painful, more frequently in the anterior portion of the floor of the mouth than in the posterior area. Early extension into the adjacent tissues, may invade the deeper tissues and may even extend into the submaxillary and sublingual glands. Limitations of the motions of the tongue often induces a peculiar thickening or slurring of the speech. These are the various pictures of the epidermoid carcinoma or squamous cell carcinoma of the tongue. This early to advanced stages of the malignancy. You can see in the first picture, second picture, these are the early to advanced stages of the malignancy of the carcinoma of tongue. Now the question arises, from where does diagnosis starts? The first and important thing is the clinical examination. Proper clinical examination, clinicians should be able to predict the diagnosis at the end of clinical examination. Another is the confirmatory diagnosis. This confirmatory diagnosis made from various diagnostic aids done in the laboratory. These diagnostic aids are histopathological diagnosis, optical diagnosis, imaging technique, and recent the molecular technique. In the pathology, you can diagnose these malignancies in the form of cytology, breast biopsy, fine needle experiential cytology, and histochemistry. The aid for the diagnosis is for the screening of this malignancy is known as explorative cytology. In this study, you can use the broom sweep limited to the superficial cells. You can spread this brush and scrape and take some cells of the surface, stain, and use this stain with stain and examine the microscopically. Breast biopsy is also the screening method. You can use the oral CTX biopsy instrument like you can see in this picture and make a diagnosis of the oral cancers. This is the photomicrograph of oral breast biopsy specimen from a patient of squamous cell carcinoma of the buccal mucosa. Here you can see the binucleated cells with evidence of intracellular and extracellular keratinization and background showing the so many inflammatory cells. The one of the important diagnostic aid for the diagnosis of the oral cancers is fine needle aspiration cytology. The fine needle aspiration cytology is a rapid and cost-effective method. It is relatively painless, precise, and effective means to diagnose the salivary gland masses and lymph nodes. This is the very rapid procedure to differentiate the inflammatory, reactive, cystic, and neoplastic lesions. So, first of all, you can use the fine needle aspiration cytology for the diagnosis of the oral cancers. Here you can see the various microphotographs of fine needle aspiration cytology of the oral cancer. In these pictures, you can see the seeds and clusters of the dysplastic epithelial cells. They have hyperchromatic nucleus and prominent nucleolus. Another diagnostic and important aid for the diagnosis of the malignant lesions is biopsy, histopathological evaluations of the suspected malignant lesions. This biopsy will perform for the definite diagnosis of the oral cancers. This biopsy is known as excisional biopsy. It depends on the size of the lesions. If the lesion is small, you can take the biopsy from the margin of the normal tissues. And if the lesion is more than 2 cm, this type of biopsy is known as incisional biopsy. Any biopsy should include surrounding normal tissues with adequate depth of underlying connective tissues. These are the macroscopic appearances of squamous cell carcinomas. His first picture photomicrograph is showing the well differentiated squamous cell carcinoma is characterized by the formation of keratin pulse. Here you can see in the first picture various round keratin pulse, and second picture is moderately differentiated squamous cell carcinoma. Here the main components consist of the cells with pronounced cytonuclear atypia. You can see the various variants of the squamous cell carcinoma. This is the histopathological pictures, biopsy pictures of the squamous cell carcinoma. Here you can see the poorly differentiated carcinoma, moderately differentiated carcinoma, and well differentiated carcinoma. Other variants are spindle cell carcinoma, papillary carcinoma, adenosquamous carcinoma, basaloid squamous cell carcinoma, and verrucous carcinoma. After the cytological and histopathological evaluation, in the world the various imaging methods are also available for the diagnosis of the oral malignancies. The radiological imaging methods are, it includes the plain film radiography, CT scan, MRI, PET scan, scintigraphy, and OCTP. Here you can see in these pictures, this is the imaging technique. Here you can see the well differentiated growth on the floor of the mouth in the PET scan, positron emission tomography. So nowadays the various imaging methods are also available for the diagnosis of oral malignancies. And recently some molecular methods, molecular techniques are available for the diagnosis of the oral cancers. This includes the immunohistochemistry, flow cytometry, PCR technique, polymerase chain reactions, FISH technique, fluorescent in situ hybridizations, DNA ploidy, and comparative genomic hybridizations. These oral malignancies have some stagings. These stagings in the form of tumors, regional lymph nodes, and distant metastases. These classifications for the staging of tumors, it is important in the management of these oral cancers. So primary tumors, this classified as a TX. TX means cannot be assessed. T0 means unknown. T1 means the lesion is, the growth is less than 2 centimeter. T2 means less than 2 to 4 centimeter. T3 means growth is more than 4 centimeter. T4A, T4 is divided into T4A and T4B. T4A is invades the cortical bone, extrinsic tongue musculature, and T4B, it invades the masticular spaces and pterygoid spaces of the skull. The regional lymph nodes. These regional lymph nodes, this staging these, node X means cannot be assessed, node 0 means none, N1 insilateral lymph nodes is less than 3 centimeter in diameter. This N2 is divided into 3 parts, N2A, N2B, and N2C. N2A is a single insilateral lymph node more than 3 centimeter and less than 6 centimeter. N2B is 2 insilateral lymph nodes and less than 6 centimeter in greater dimensions. N2C is bilateral or contralateral lymph nodes and less than 6 centimeter in greatest dimension. And last, N3 is any lymph nodes more than 6 centimeter in greater dimensions. And last, the distance metastasis. The tumor is metastasized in various forms. MX means cannot be assessed, M0 is none, and M1 is any. Now, how to manage the oral cancers? The management of oral cancers is most important part of this therapy is surgery. Another one is radiotherapy, and next chemotherapy, reconstructive surgery, and future directions. Nowadays people are using the gene therapy. What is the prognosis of this oral cancer? Overall, the 5-year survival rate for oral cancer is 40 to 50% of cases. Generally, the anterior part of the mouth, the tumors occurs, the prognosis is better. For cancers involving the posterior tongue that are not associated with human papillomavirus 16, the rate can be less than 30%. The presence of tumor in regional lymph nodes further reduce the overall 5 years survival rate by 1/2. The continued use of tobacco after treatment for oral cancer increases the risk of recurrence. Patients with human papillomavirus 16 associated carcinoma have a greater, greatly improved 5-year survival rates, is showing excellent response to radiation and chemotherapy. This provided the patient has a less than 10 packs years history of the tobacco use. Conclusions of this lectures is your plan for the diagnosis and treatment of cancer is the key components of any overall cancer control plan. Its main goal is to cure cancer patients or prolong their life considerably. It ensuring a good quality of life. In order for a diagnosis and treatment program to be effective, it must never be developed in isolation. It needs to be linked to an early detection program so that cases are detected at any early stage when treatment is more effective and there is a greater chance of cure. Students, it also needs to be integrated with a palliative care program so that patients with advanced cancer who cannot no longer benefit from treatment will get adequate relief from their physical, psychological and spiritual suffering. Furthermore, programs should include awareness, raising components to educate the patients, family and community members about the cancer risk factors and the need for taking preventive measures to avoid this type of cancers. Thank you very much, dear friends, students. Say no to tobacco and yes to life. Thank you. Thank you very much.